What's up, everybody? It's the Power Rankings Podcast, aka the Power Rankings Show. I'm your host, Elliot Harrison. I'm pleased to be joined, as always, on this Wednesday with at Marcus_Mosher. Hello, sir.
Our long national nightmare is almost over. Aaron Rodgers is almost out of Green Bay, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I got to give you a lot of respect, man. Besides keeping track of everything that's going on, including the Broncos signing a gaggle of offensive linemen, your sweatshirt collection is robust. I think that's fair to say. You have more average colored sweatshirts than anyone I've ever seen. They're all like dull grays and they're guys' colors.
This one's a like dark gray blue, or like a light gray and a blue color.
Do you have anything that has color? Like, do you have like a lavender sweatshirt or a periwinkle? No,
I have a neon green one somewhere. Listen, I just wear sweatshirts all the time because it's negative 35 degrees out all the time. So what do you expect?
Hey, we may have you on the weather in LA. I don't know if you've seen the news. It has been pouring here. It poured all day yesterday. We've had flooding, not so much in my area, but it did pour all day. I put so you guys that do watch the news, it is not a myth what's going on out here. I put a kind of a water, I don't know what you would call it. I can't think of the stupid word, not a bucket, but something that you pour water out of and outside to catch the rainwater. I just saw how full it was. I was like, oh my gosh, because I was going to use it to water my plants. But every time I see you with one of your sweatshirts on, I just want to say, Marcus, I can't wear your colors.
What a great Rocky III quote.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you what movie, what scene was that from, and I can wear your colors. Yeah. All right.
Can we use some free agency stuff?
Absolutely. I know we're going to have to talk Aaron Rodgers. I want to back end a little bit of that. I should say Marcus prepared because he's not lazy in the offseason like he is during the season. He actually does some rankings. He ranked his 8 favorite free agent moves so far. There's going to be more, but when you say now, we're kind of in the trickle period,
we're like done with the first 2 or 3 waves of free agency. We'll get one significant move a day now.
Right. So we've got some of those. Before we get into that, have you had any kind of like overarching themes so far that you've noticed this free agent period? I think last year, the thing that you and I both noticed is how high the wide receiver market shot up. That was easy to see when Kirk signed his deal. Cooper signed for $20 million. Zay Jones got $10 million. It was just bam, 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 bam. Anything you've noticed like that so far, team or position specific?
I'm shocked at how little the NFL values linebackers. And we've known this is coming for a while. We've seen the devalue of the position for the last decade, but you look at the deals that have been handed out to some really, really good linebackers, and it's shocking. Like 3rd and 4th receivers on teams are getting paid more than top end linebackers. And we can run through some of them. Levante David got a 1-year, $7 million deal. TJ Edwards, who we're going to talk about in a little bit. I thought he was one of the best linebackers in the league last year, and he got $5.5 million a season. It is shocking how little teams just value that position.
Unless you happen to have played for the Buffalo Bills.
There's
one linebacker.
Then you're getting generational money.
Yes. Did that make your list?
No, dude, we don't have to worry about a certain Bills linebacker going to Chicago.
Oh, okay. What was that deal like for 70 something million dollars? That was
$50 million guaranteed.
Jeez Louise. Okay. That aside, you've got 8 here that we're going to dive into. Any criteria? Is this about the team fit? Maybe the guys getting out of their old place or the money, or is it a little bit of all of it?
A little bit of all of it. Some of these guys got even overpaid a little bit, but I just like the fit with the team so much that I'm willing to overlook it. Remember, in free agency, for the most part, you're overpaying, but it doesn't make it a bad deal. I think a perfect example last year is the Christian Kirk deal with Jacksonville. Everybody knows that Jacksonville overpaid, but did he make their receiving core a ton better? Did he make that offense a ton better? Mm-hmm. And the answer is yes. That was a move they absolutely needed to make.
Yeah, and again, on the back end of this, we're going to get into Little Rogers and another little news nugget from today. But let's start on this list because I'm curious. Marcus did not tell me who any of these guys are. I have no idea. I mean, I know who the guys are as players, but I don't know who. I see a Jets logo though at number 8 if you're watching on YouTube. So let's start there.
Alan Lazard, wide receiver from the Packers, joining the Jets. Now, I think the money is high. I think it was 4 years, $44 million. Some of that's some fluff in there, but whether Aaron Rodgers goes to New York or not, I think Lazard makes a lot of sense when you pair him with Garrett Wilson because you need somebody that can block and hit some defensive ends and ship, linebackers and pass cover or whatever you need. He's going to do all the dirty work in that offense, and they just didn't have that guy last year.
I could go for a few $1 million of fluff, frankly. Sounds kind of nice. Yeah, man, I'm not in love with this one. I get it. Aaron Rodgers wants his guys in New York. Well, that's the report that he wants his guys. He had something to say about the person who filed that report. We will get to that again at the back end of this. This is, I think it'd be really easy, and I hope I don't see this where the Jets say, hey, we looked at it like Peyton Manning went to the Broncos. He brought Wes Welker with him. Alan Lazard ain't Wes Welker.
No, okay? He's not.
And I'm a little worried about this only because I'm not worried. Okay. But I think the Jets have built a nice little program there. I know they're 7-10, but it's all been because of quarterback. I don't think it's the other 21 starters. And so I don't know that I love this. And you mentioned it's a little expensive, but hey, who knows what the wide receiver market is anymore? So there you go.
And I just look at around some of these teams, like I think Tyler Boyd is being overpaid by the Bengals, but he does so much for that offense in terms of his toughness, blocking. He'll catch stuff across the middle of the field that, sometimes it's okay to overpay those guys a little bit to give your offense a little bit of an attitude.
And there's a key difference there for me too. Tyler Boyd has been with the Bengals since he came out in 2016. This time I know I have the draft year right because I talked to Tyler before he got drafted, but we're on a first name basis, everyone.
Pitt Panther.
Yeah.
PA guy.
Tyler Boyd told me.
I like it.
Sorry. Yeah. But Tyler Boyd's the one that made the huge catch in 2017 against Baltimore to win that game. That's the one that famously sent Buffalo to the playoffs, made Andy Dalton a local hero in Buffalo. Tyler Boyd knows the program. He's been with Zach Taylor since Zach Taylor got there. He knows the other receivers. He's worked with Joe Burrow. How do you put a price tag on that kind of continuity? That's why I'd way rather have Tyler Boyd for his deal in Cincinnati than Lazard in New York for his deal.
Fair. All right, let's get to the next one.
Okay.
It's the Denver Broncos. They signed Mike McGlinchey, right tackle for the 49ers, to this massive, massive deal. And I think the thought, at least on Twitter, right, is, hey, this is to help Russell Wilson pass protection so he doesn't get hit. I actually look at it the other way, Elliot. I think the best way to protect Russ is just to run the crap out of the ball. And I know McGlinchey can move guys off the ball. And if the Broncos want to be like this 50-50 run pass team, I think McGlinchey is a heck of a right tackle to help you get there.
Yeah, good player. I don't know if I can call it a good deal. This was another pretty high money deal, right?
Like $21 million a year.
Yeah, man. That's big money for a right tackle. That's a viable NFL starter. I hesitate to call him a Pro Bowl level player, Marcus.
No, but below that.
Yeah, but let me say this. The idea that all the Saints ever did was throw the ball around the park is totally false. When they were at their zenith, I think is when they had Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. In 2017, they had a great team. 2018, they lost in the NFC Championship, albeit very, very controversially, using their backs. If you remember the 2009 Saints that won the Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure, Marcus, they finished in the top 5 in rushing that year. Now, some of that would have been because they had a lead and they were running the clock down at the end of games, but they used Pierre Thomas, Reggie Bush, and the guy I was trying to remember, I'm pretty sure was Mike Bell earlier. You're going to look. You're going to pull up some 2009 Saints on Pro Football Reference.
Do you want me to?
I'm going to guess they went 4th in rushing. Let's see how they did. Let's see how close I am.
Okay. So that season in rushing yards, they finished 6th. Pretty good. 3rd in rushing touchdowns, though.
Okay.
Mike
Who
Bell.
are their Mike Bell. I think he went to Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. Arizona or Arizona State.
Look at you. Arizona.
Yeah. Luck. Pure luck.
Oh,
Either
that's
way,
a good call. Good job.
Point being is that Sean Payton has run the ball over the years very effectively. I think he knows what he's doing. I think they realize that Russell Wilson is not the running around magician that he was in 2014. So I get your point. Let's go to number 6.
Now, this is not a big name, but if you watch football a lot, you'll see this guy. It's Dalvin Tomlinson for the Cleveland Browns. Brought him over from Minnesota. All year long, Elliot, we talked about how bad the interior defensive line was for the Cleveland Browns. They just had nothing at defensive tackle.
The whole unit underperformed. The entire defensive unit.
Yes. Tomlinson's not a pass rusher, but what he can do is stop the run really, really well. And I think that's exactly what this defense was missing last year. So I love this.
This is kind of what Dallas was trying to do when they brought Hankins in last year, is to shore some of this up. Teams still run the football when it matters, and trying to run the clock out is really huge in the NFL. As much as teams are passing the ball now, that's why we see more. And that's why we see more comebacks than we ever saw before. Is a lot of times teams just can't close the deal, and because they haven't been running the ball consistently all game, and then all of a sudden they want to run the ball for 2 straight drives. Well, getting a guy like this prevents a team from being able to do this. And what it does is it puts the ball back in your quarterback's hands. And that's where Cleveland, in theory, thinks they have an advantage, their quarterback over yours. Unfortunately, we didn't see that last year. Yep. So I actually really like this signing. This is my favorite of your 3 so far. Yeah. Let's go to number 5.
It's the highest of the 3. Next one, right. New York Giants. Not a signing, but a big impact move. I like the risk of trading for Darren Waller. It's hard to get good pass catchers in free agency and in trades right now. Like, there's just not guys available in free agency. And if there are, you have to overpay them. And in a trade, you've got to overpay those guys and then pay them. So they went out and got Darren Waller, who, when he's right, is one of the biggest mismatch weapons in the NFL. I love the Giants taking a shot on him here.
Now, Waller came in the Gruden era. Was he 1 year before Gruden arrived?
He was 1 year before Gruden arrived, playing wide receiver for the Raiders at the time.
That's what I thought. So, okay. This one's tough for me. How much guaranteed are we talking about here?
1 year, $11 million. That's it.
But it's guaranteed.
It's guaranteed, but that's it.
Yeah. I'm good with that part of it for a guy that's had some injuries as of late. How often have we seen a tight end switch uniforms and then just not really be that guy? Jimmy Graham, remember when he went to Seattle and people thought, oh, this was going to be so great. You're playing with a different style quarterback than you played with the Raiders. Derek Carr was not going to go run around. Derek Carr was going to stay in that pocket and try to deliver you the football. I don't think Daniel Jones is as good as thrower as Derek Carr is, even though I think Daniel Jones had a better year than Derek Carr did last year. A lot of that has to do with Daniel Jones' playmaking ability outside of the pocket, running, using his legs. That said, Waller's still a pretty young player, and he's been really special. And on 1 year, $11 million deal, man. I mean, the Jags signed Evan Ingram for $10 million, and Waller's been a way better player than Ingram.
And that's a good example of it working out, though, right? Like Evan Ingram just did not work out with the Giants. He goes to Jacksonville, has the best year of his career. So we have seen it work out before. And again, it cost you pick 100, which is, listen, I love the draft, but that's nothing. You're giving away a pick. And then $11 million. Like, I'm willing to take a chance there. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's no big deal.
You know what else Evan Ingram's really good at is dragging NFC East defensive backs 10 yards out of bounds to put away a game. I don't know what game I'm speaking of specifically. Oh, look, who's number 4 on your list?
I blocked that game out of my memory. The Dallas Cowboys, another trade. Now, Stephon Gilmore for the Colts. I know some people are out there talking about Gilmore really declining and regressing. I didn't see that at all last year. I still saw a player who is pretty doggone effective. If you watch that Colts Broncos game, he absolutely stole that game for the Colts. And I think going into his age 33 season, being on a team with a good pass rush and being the number 2 corner, I think Gilmore can still offer a lot for Dallas.
What are they paying him? $9 million?
Yeah, I think if he hits all of his incentives, it's like $10.1 million.
Yeah, you got Diggs on the other side. The Cowboys brought Donovan Wilson back. Hurst is still there, who Marcus and I think is kind of the Cowboys' de facto locker room leader, or certainly one of them. Mm-hmm. Could be a pretty good secondary. Should mention while we're on the Cowboys, though, Noah Brown, kind of Cowboys fans' whipping boy for that very Jacksonville game we just referred to, cryptically, signed with Houston. I like that signing. I like Houston getting a guy like that. I wanted to give Noah Brown some love. He doesn't get enough love. Let's go to number 3.
Chicago Bears, not the Bills linebacker, but I love the TJ Edwards signing for them. Edwards was awesome all playoff long for the Eagles. I still think he's kind of in the prime of his career, and to get him at 2 years, basically $11 million, I think is an absolute steal for Chicago.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, I don't know if I like it as much as the Bills linebacker that shall remain nameless because we wanted him to stay in Buffalo.
Yes.
Marcus, because he's a lifelong fan, me just because I liked him on that team. But yeah, I like that. Nice beanie. I like this one, man. I'm with you. I got to tell you, what did you say it was $5.5 million for TJ Edwards? I mean, I tell you what, off the ball linebacker has become the new running backs don't matter, hasn't it?
Heck yeah. But I think these linebackers, if you get the right ones, can really impact a game. Look no further than what Fred Warner did against the Cowboys in the divisional round. Like, that was one of the best linebacker games you'll ever see.
And we should mention Greenlaw. Greenlaw is a heck of a player for them. Another off the ball linebacker. We saw Miami get David Long from Tennessee, another off the ball backer. I'm glad, by the way, Tampa Bay re-signed Levante David. I hope he plays his whole career there. He's a borderline Hall of Fame player, probably Hall of Very Good, but great player. I like this signing. Am I going to like Atlanta's as much? Because you've got him at number 2.
Yeah. So the Falcons had a ton of cap space this offseason. And when you're a young rebuilding team, one of the things that I don't like to see is when you piece your money out just to have average starters everywhere, try to fill your roster. What I'd rather you do is overpay a superstar just to improve the talent level at one spot. And that's what the Falcons did by getting Jesse Bates, who was with the Bengals. I think Bates is one of the best safeties in the league. Did they overpay him? Probably. But now they've got a couple, actual stars in their secondary with AJ Terrell and Jesse Bates, and they're actually building something on defense. So I love this signing by Atlanta.
I'll just say that if you're going to get a veteran like that, you're going to overpay, and it's a young team where you're really trying to make your nucleus the guys you draft. For example, if Desmond Ridder is really going to be the guy this year, you're talking about a second-year player that was a third-round draft pick. And also, Marcus, a lot of the guys that are coming out now are 21 years old. They're not 22 or 3 like they were back in the old school. Not even that old school. You had a lot of guys that had redshirted. They'd come to the draft at 23. When you have a bunch of players that are 21 or 22 in their second year, you kind of want to sign a guy that's going to bring some veteran leadership too. And so I hope that Bates, besides just being a good player, is at that stage of the career where he's ready to take on that kind of role. Because, we talk a lot, like with Carolina staying in Atlanta's division, about who's your face of the franchise. But we also should talk more about who's the leader? Who's the guy that brings everybody together? Who's the guy that calls a players only meeting when it needs to happen? Who's the guy that goes to a young player and says, "Hey, can we keep this in house? Like, don't be telling the media you're not happy with the quarterback or whatever."
Yeah. If
Bates can be that kind of guy, and that's hard to do when it's your first year in a new city and a new team. But I think when it's a team like Atlanta that's going to be trying to build through the draft, I hope this works out in that manner.
I agree. I just think, man, now you at least have some building blocks on defense. And Bates has been in a million big games. So I like it. This feels like the start of a rebuild for Atlanta, the way they should have been doing it for a while. So I like it.
You can't ever have too many quality defensive backs.
No, absolutely.
not in today's game. So, okay, what's number 1?
All right, number 1. I think where we're going here. One of maybe the most surprising moves of the offseason, it's the 49ers signing defensive tackle Jaron Hargrave.
Yeah, I mean, this was a stunner. I mean, I told Marcus on the phone a couple of days ago, I said, 21 on 21, I don't think there's any team that can stack up with the 49ers except for Philadelphia. Except the problem is maybe Philadelphia, if he's not Philadelphia's one of their top 5 players, certainly top 7.
Sure.
I don't know how many players on the Eagles you would say are better than Hargrave. This is not only addition, but it's also addition by subtraction, isn't it?
Right, yeah.
If you're the 49ers and you're looking at the landscape of the NFC, especially the quality of quarterbacks in the NFC, which is to say there's not much, who's the team that you're worried about the most?
It's the Eagles.
Yeah, it's the Eagles. And I'm not just saying that because Philadelphia beat them in the championship game. These are just the 2 best rosters. These are the 2 teams in the